Hello, YouTube. I know it's been, I guess, a couple years since my last video. I did say I would update you when I was asking for help about, my mom needing donations and things like that. Um, Everything turned out okay. The thing is, I wanted to video it, showing me give her a check, and she didn't want me to video it. She's camera shy, I guess. But um, she did want to say, she had um, a heartfelt thank you to everybody that donated. Yeah, I'm not going to mention names. I mean, y'all know who donated. I can say that with the donations over the last few years, it wouldn't. It was a pretty good amount, but it wouldn't. I mean, it helped, and that's the biggest thing, is that it helped her. She was happy to receive it. I think she got somewhere around close to, I think, 1,200 or more, something like that. 12, 13, something like that. Yeah, she wanted to say thank you for your donations and everything. So I'll leave the donation button on the page if you still want to try to donate. That's up to you. That's still optional. Uh, so that's the update on how things are going with my mom. Things are better. She's doing okay. She's 81 years old now. But yeah, my mom's doing okay, and she, as I said, she wants to thank everybody that donated. I thank y'all too. It was a big help. I appreciate it. Update on me. I'm still working in a factory, and on all the other videos, I've never said, what my name is. I've always went on my channel name. It always says 2013 Rango, and my name is actually Tony. So for those that want to know, there you go. I'll be turning 50 this November. Yeah, the factory job I work for a company by the name of, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but I work for a company by the name of Bendix. I'll let y'all Google search that if you want to figure out what they do. Update on my wife. For the last few years, she's kind of been in and out of hospital, several different hospitals. She's been having issues walking. Her health is not as great as it should be, but she had a little bit of a scare, I guess. Let me explain. About 2 years ago, she was in the hospital. My wife, her name's Sue, she had a fall when she was in the hospital. She unplugged an alarm that was on the bed, and if a patient is trying to get up out of bed and they're not supposed to by themselves, an alarm goes off, and aides come real quick, and they help out the person in need to get them to the bathroom or whatever. Well, she somehow unplugged that alarm, and when she stood up, she fell. She hit her eye. She blacked her eye by hitting it on a walker that she was trying to use, and then she landed real hard on the hospital floor. By doing this, she cracked 2 or 3 vertebrae in her neck. Basically, she broke her neck. She had to have a neck brace put on and everything. And the doctor offered her at that time to give her an operation, and it was a high-risk surgery. It scared my wife. He told her that she could die on the table, if if she went under the knife, that she could die. Well, it scared her. It's a high-risk surgery, It scared anybody that's needing to go through a surgery like that. She chose not to do it. Okay, so now, fast forward the last 2 years, she's been having, let's say in the last 6 months or so, she's been having constant migraines almost on a daily basis. They keep her doped up a lot with pain medications and stuff like that. Now, she's on medications that will cause her to hallucinate, see things that are not there, talk out of her head, things like that. And it's not good. And then when she also talks rude to you too, when she's all hyped up on whatever they're giving her. And, it's like she's a whole different person. And she gets hateful and things like that. And I'm sure if you can relate to that, if you have family members that are doing stuff like that, then you understand what I'm talking about. So the last few months, she's been having issues with feelings in her hands and numbness and things like that. And she had a few more falls on the floor, since 2 years ago. We've had a caregiving service to come. I'm not going to name who they are, but we've had a caregiving service come out to to our home. When I go to work to watch her for a few hours, she got approved to have 8 hours of service of people to come here and watch her for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, according to her insurance. And for whatever reason, they would only send somebody out here to watch her for 2 or 3 hours, and then they go home or go to their next customer. And she'd be by herself anywhere between 4 to 6 hours each day by herself until I got off work. Now, she's not supposed to be by herself. And eventually, as the last few months have went by, she started getting real bad with her hands where she couldn't even move her hands or her arms. From her elbow to her wrist, she couldn't move her arms at all. So we ended up having to send her to the hospital. The doctor that talked to her 2 years ago about her neck, he talked to her again. And this was all in July last year. And she was told by the doctor, and he told me too, that because she waited for 2 years to have the surgery on her neck, what ended up happening was she caused more damage to her neck. And he told me that 2 years ago, all he would have had to done was put 4 screws in her neck and she'd been fine. Well, she waited 2 years to actually have something done about her injury in her neck. And he said that it's still a high-risk surgery, but now it's a lot worse because of her age. It's a lot higher risk, plus she's got diabetes, and she has, well, now I can't even think. She's diabetic, and her age is, and also can't think of the name of it now. But she has softening of the bones, where her bones are a little soft. So now he would have to put 2 rods in her neck along with a metal plate in the back of her head. And of course that scared both of us, because he kept saying that she could die on the table. And I thought I was going to lose her. This was a month ago. Alright, so you can look on my Facebook page. My name is Tony Tibbs. If you want to look on there, and you can see back last month about what was going on with my wife. She was in the hospital. I put pictures and comments and things like that if you want to check it out to see what I'm talking about. It scared both of us. I thought she was going to die, if she had surgery and everything. But she had no choice. She couldn't move her arms and barely did have a grip in her hands. Thankfully, After she had the surgery, she survived it, pulled through with flying. She went through it with flying colors. She did okay, and the healing process, took its course, and she healed up over the next few weeks after surgery. And then they concentrated on trying to get her therapy, for her hands and her arms and things like that. And a week ago, they sent her the signature. It's right beside of the medical center. And now they're giving her therapy. And she's doing pretty good. She's held up pretty good. She's got some of her motor function back in her hands. She's got some grip back. She can move her arms like she was before. Most of her, when she was having numbness in her hands, now she says they're not numb no more. So that's a good thing. Now we got to get her on, she's got to get the rehab going through and be able to walk again, and get her where she can start using a walker again. And if we can just get her to stay with the program and get her to stay on rehab so she can get better and walk again, she'll recover faster. But she's stubborn sometimes, but that's just part of it. But yeah, that's what I've been busy with right now. Seeing my wife, visiting her in rehab, and I've been busy working. I've been looking after my mom. I check in on her when she needs something. I'll go around there and check on her. And, as I said, it's the same house, it's the front and back to it. So yeah, I've been really busy. As far as I'm also answering questions just in case you're wondering what I'm doing. I've had people ask me how, what am I going to do with my channel now going forward. I've been thinking it over for the last few years, and thinking that, I don't raise mealworms anymore, just in case you want to know. I can still answer questions and things like that, or I can go back and just tell you to go back and watch some of the old videos I did. Yeah, the mealworms, they ended up getting mites, and I had to end up getting rid of them. I still have the bins. I cleaned them up and I put them in storage. So don't ask me if I want to sell the bins or not. I'm not sure if I want to or not. Now, like I said, there's so much stuff going on right now. I don't know, what I want to do with that stuff. So anyway, yeah, I'm not raising mealworms anymore. So, I may not be able to remember some of the, if you want to ask me questions about them, just go back and look at the old videos. That's all I can tell you. I'd have to go back and rewatch them and see what I did. I can still remember some things I did, but, like I said, I haven't been raising mealworms recently at all. So, going forward on my channel, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the channel. I'm thinking about maybe making some video logs, along the way, things like that. Maybe some things that I would do in my daily life if some things have happened, and, maybe I'll start doing that and do a video log, like I'm doing right now. As far as my health and stuff goes, and like I said, a lot of things have happened with my mom. A lot of things have happened with my wife. And I've had some things happen to me. I've had a scare, last year, right before COVID. Yeah, COVID. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I never caught it. I was tested, and I'm, negative. I never did catch it. I was lucky. I got a good immune system, so I did get my shots recently, as I got the Moderna. I think that's how you say it. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I think it's the Moderna. You know what I mean. The first shot wasn't so bad, but the second one, I was sick for 2 weeks after I got the shot. So if you're going to get that shot, be aware your second one's going to be the worst one. But after that, I felt fine. I still feel fine now. Trying to figure out what else. Yeah, my scare that I had right before COVID, I was having issues with my shoulder. I think I mentioned this in a past video. I'm not sure, but I'll reiterate that. I had an issue with my left shoulder. I'd have pain that would run from here all the way down in my shoulder right in here, and it would hurt. If I moved my arm a little bit, like maybe, just about that far, it would hurt. It would just shoot pain, agonizing pain all through here every time I move it about halfway up, or I couldn't even lift my arm up over my head or anything because it was so painful. And I thought maybe I needed an adjustment, or my arm felt like it was out of its socket. That's basically how it felt. It felt like I dislocated it or something. It was that painful. And I wanted to go to a chiropractor. And this was like in February. Let's see, COVID happened around March of last year. So, or started coming out around that time. So in February, I went to the chiropractor. I went in there to get my back adjusted, or see if he could do something about my shoulder. He said he couldn't do nothing for my shoulder, but before he tried to do anything to me, he wanted to check my blood pressure. And his eyes got about the size of golf balls. He looked at the thing, and he took another reading. He said that, he told me what my blood pressure was, and he said it was, let's see, what did he say? It was like 185 over, no, that's not right. It was way up there. I mean, I had high blood pressure. It was like, I think it was 175 over 85 or something like that. It was really high. And, he said I was like on the borderline of having a stroke or heart attack. And I told him the only thing that I felt at the time was that I had a migraine. But I felt fine other than that. I just had a real bad migraine. And he took my blood pressure a third time, and he told me, after he wrote the numbers down, he said, I want you to make me a promise. I want you to go across the street to urgent care, and have them check your blood pressure. Do it right now. I said, okay. So I'll go across the street. And, that's where the chiropractor was, across the street from the clinic. I go in and I show them the piece of paper, and show them what my blood pressure was. Well, their eyes got big too. I was like, okay. So they they asked me some questions. I answered them, and this lady that was at the desk, she called real calmly somebody on the phone, and then she said, I want you to follow me. So they took me back to where they have the examination rooms. I walked past about 20 people that were sitting in the waiting room. They took me back to the examination room and checked my blood pressure, and it was still high. It was like about 185 over 89 or something like that. It was way up there. And they told me, you need to go to to the ER or triage and get checked in. Where do you want to go, medical center, or you want to go to the other one? I said, well, I'll go to the medical center. He said, well, they're waiting on you. So I drove myself over to the ER triage over at the medical center, and they were there waiting on me. I got in there. They started checking my temperature. They took my blood pressure. It was still high. They walked me back to the examination room in the ER, started hooking me up to this machine and taking my temperature, asking me questions. Just all the goody stuff, right? And then I told them about my shoulder hurting, things like that, and they said they would look at that too. I think the whole ordeal like that, I think it was like about 30 minutes or so. They had, asked all the questions they were going to ask me. They came in, they gave me an IV. They put some kind of medicine in it. They took blood. They did some tests on me. They also gave me a pink pill and an injection of something that said it would bring my blood pressure down real fast. I don't know what the definition of being real fast is, but, I was in the ER for like 6.5 hours that day. But they took me to have my shoulder x-rayed to see what kind of why my shoulder was hurting. He looked at my shoulder. and told me that he didn't see anything wrong in the joints. Everything looked fine, and when the bone structure and everything looked good. He said more than likely, he said that the reason why I'm having pain, I have arthritis in my shoulder. And he named it by something. It has some kind of line. It ain't rheumatoid or arthritis. It's the other one. It's in the muscle. And he recommended me to go to therapy for it, and I did at a later time. Then he recommended me to see a doctor, and I did. As weeks and months went by after that, I started having a regular doctor. He put me on medication for blood pressure and cholesterol. I got 2 different cholesterol pills, 2 different blood pressure pills. He put me on a potassium pill. Put me on Lasix. A Lasix pill, what that does is make you urinate. If you got a lot of salt in your system, and it makes you pee it out every 30 minutes or so. You have to keep going to the bathroom and go pee. That's what that does. But yeah, the blood pressure, cholesterol. I had supplements I've been taking. He wants me to keep taking them, like vitamin C and taking an aspirin. And I'm not on blood thinners other than aspirin. I take 1 aspirin a day. Multivitamin, things like that. I have a list of things that I take, and he wants me to stay on it. They also had me go to a heart doctor. They didn't find no clots. They didn't find any blockages. They said my circulation was good. I didn't have no chest pain, none of that stuff like that, so I was lucky. I caught it, I went to the doctor, and they caught, it could have turned worse, Yeah, I do need to lose some weight, and I've been trying for years to lose weight, so I'm still working on that. Last time they checked my blood pressure, it looks more normal now, like a normal person would, so it's now regulated at normal. My cholesterol is normal. Now my health's a little better, except for being overweight. So I'm not proud of that, but I'm working on it. Let's see what else. So now that I've gotten all that out of the way, as I said, I've been busy for the last, my last video was like 3 years ago. So I guess it's what it says on YouTube. I'm looking at it. So the last 3 years I've been really busy, as you can tell. So a lot of things have happened. Some scares, things like that. So a lot of things have happened between me and my wife and my mother. Things are a little better. Things are still a little difficult with financial situations. I don't think I mentioned this, but I think, was it 2018, I think? I finally managed to get out of my debt. I had credit card debt that I was paying off, a couple years back. I finally got out of that. I'm glad, and I'm never going to touch another credit card again. Oh, yeah. Here's a pointer for anybody that's thinking about getting credit cards and stuff like that. Don't do it. It ain't worth the time. I spent 20 years getting in credit card debt. It took me that long to get out of it. So I wish I'd never gotten it, because I would have had a lot more money if I did. If I would have never touched a credit card years ago, I would have had a lot more money now. But I screwed up. So now it's going to take me years to catch up to where I should have been now. Anyway, what I was going to say about my shoulder, the arthritis, I had to go to therapy for that. I forgot what kind of, I still can't think of what the name of the arthritis is. I can't pronounce it now, or I can't remember what they called it, but it had a long name with it, and it said something, some type of arthritis that's in the muscle. The therapist told me after he examined me, and told me after he did some kind of thing to it and loosened up the muscle and everything, I was able to have range of motion in my arm, along with some therapy, over a period of several months. And then right around the time I was doing therapy, COVID hit. So then I had to start doing home exercises right after that, because then they wouldn't let people in So they emailed me my exercises that I would do at home, and I stuck with it, and I did them every day. After about 2 months of doing that, my shoulder got a lot better. I had a lot more full motion where it doesn't hurt. I can move my arm around better now and pick up things with it. Therapy helped. But occasionally, once in a while, I'll feel a little pain right in here. It'll act up and flare up, and you can see it swell a little bit. And especially right here, it'll swell up a little bit, get puffy and real tense. Right now, it's relaxed because I'm not working. But once in a while, depending on what I'm doing, it'll hurt. I got a pain pill for it, so it is what it is. That's all part of being old. You start getting older, things start happening. Going forward with the channel. An update. It's not related to mealworms or anything like that. Everything going forward is going to be about something else, okay? So, no more mealworms. It's about my car. I drive a 1980 Chevrolet Malibu that I've been working on for a long time. I don't have a garage to work on, out of the weather. So if it rains, I can't do anything to my car because I don't have a carport. I don't have a garage. It's out in the open air. Gravel driveway. I'm sure some guys that work on their own cars can relate to this. I'm just fortunate enough that I don't have or unfortunate that I don't have a garage. I don't have, a carport to park under. If it rains, you can't work on your car. If it snows, you can't work on your car. If it's 100 plus degrees outside, it's too hot to work on it. And if if it drops to like 20, 30 degrees in the wintertime, you freeze while you're out there working on the car. Maybe I might do some video logs on my car. Maybe I'll start doing that, and, updates on that. I guess you could say over the last 5-6 years or so, I've been gradually putting money away into a savings account. And my car, I've had my car for like somewhere around 15 years or so. Let's see, what year was it when I first got my car? I'm trying to think. I was working in another factory at the time. 2004 is when I bought my car. Now this is 2021, so that's how long I've had my car. And it's still going, right? The engine has been, the engine that was in it, I'll get to that in a minute. The engine I had in it, it was a 350 bored out 30 over. It was just a regular 350 2-bolt main, and it had it was mainly stock, but it had a 292 cam in it, headers, dual exhaust. It's got 350 turbo transmission behind it. It had with a shift kit in it. It's an automatic. 4-barrel 650 double pumper Holly. I had a mechanical fuel pump. Most of it, I used to have an MSD ignition system. I think it was the 6AL or 6 something. I can't remember the name of the brain box now, but I had issues with that brain box for a long time, and I got rid of it and went with XL, and everything seemed fine after that. But yeah, that thing. I'll explain that in a minute. I already took my meds. Anyway, my car, it had an 0350 in it. It was bored out and everything, and that thing leaked oil on every seal that it had. Gaskets around the valve covers leaked. The head gaskets didn't leak. That was the only thing it didn't leak. It leaked around the intake a little bit. It leaked around the oil pan. It leaked around the bearing seals. It leaked around the timing chain cover. all I was doing was trying to keep maintenance up on it. So, additives to the oil that would thicken up the oil so it would stop it from leaking as much, so it would last longer on a quart of oil. If you didn't do that, it would burn a quart. A half a quart of oil, it would leak a half a quart and it would burn the other half. Well, actually, it didn't really burn a lot of oil. It would just maybe a quarter of a quart. It would burn, and then the rest of it would leak it out all over the engine and the underside of the car. And it did that for 12, 13 years. It did that. And I drove it like that. So I kept it going and everything. And then right around sometime around last year, towards November or December of last year, it started pecking real bad. It started knocking. And I was afraid it was about to throw a rod because it was louder. The more I drove it, the louder it got. It had good oil pressure. The oil pressure was good. It was like around 40, let's see, when you're idling, it was doing about 35 pounds of pressure on oil. When you're driving, it was almost like 60 psi on oil pressure when you drove it, maybe sometimes 70. And you could always smell the oil leaking on it everywhere you went. It's smelled like oil everywhere. You could see a puddle underneath the car sometimes, or an oil stain in the driveway. And eventually it started pecking and kept on pecking and knocking, and it's like, well, it ain't getting no quieter. It's getting louder. So I started parking it and quit driving it for a little while. And I happened to have a friend I was working with. He still works out, where I work at. And he told me his dad built engines. And I told him what my engine was doing. And he said he'd have a chat with his dad. He said his dad could build me a motor or rebuild mine. First he said he could rebuild it. Like, okay. And he said he'd charge you about $3,000 to do it. Well, luckily for me, I had money put away in my savings account for the last 5-6 years. So, you add a little, as much as you can afford to put up each week until you eventually saved up enough money. And my wife helped me save up some money too. So, I needed another engine for my car. So when the opportunity came up, my friend said, "Oh yeah, we could rebuild your motor for you." And I said, "Well, hey, what do you want in it?" And I told him what I wanted in it. Well, I wanted a 383 stroker, but he said that'd be expensive if you did that. So we could rebuild your 350, and make it where you can, have more horsepower than what you have now. I don't even think my old engine even had 300 horsepower. I think it had less than that because it was so weak. Excuse me, I gotta drink something, my throat's dry, or I'm gonna start coughing. Anyway, so we negotiated, and when they were fixing to we were setting up a time frame when we were him and his dad were gonna come over, and they were gonna pull my motor in my car. We were trying to set up a date and a time to have that done, and we didn't know when to do this, so we were trying to plan it. So as we were getting ready for him and his dad to start taking my motor out to rebuild it, he said, "My dad just got this new motor. It's a 350 4-bolt main that he just got out of the machine shop, just got through machine shopping it. Brand new pistons, brand new piston rings." And he said, "Would you be willing to buy that, and then we take your old motor, but you keep the parts that you want off of it and put them onto the new motor?" And it'd be the same price as before. We take your old one, you keep the parts you want, and we put them on, we transplant them onto the new one, and then we put that motor in. We do it right there in the driveway. I said, "You can do it right there in the driveway?" He said, "Yeah, we bring a cherry picker and do it all right there with some help with some friends." I was like, "Okay." I said, "That sounds like a good deal." And then we started talking about heads, and we started talking about what's going to go in it and things like that. And I wanted to keep it in a budget, and we come up with a budget, and he said $3,000, and that's for pulling the motor, putting the new one in, keeping parts off the old motor to go on the new one, things like that. I'm like, well, that's a hell of a deal. Like, okay. All right, so the new motor that's in the car, we transplanted the new one into the car somewhere around in February. It was the end of January, and I think it was the first week of February of this year, 2021. And it was like, I don't know, about 15, 20 degrees outside at the time when we did this, so it was really cold that day. Well, anyway, the motor that's in it right now in my car is a 1980 Chevrolet Malibu. It has a 350 4-bolt main, 292 cam, an Edelbrock RPM series intake, a dual plane intake, aluminum intake. It's got an XL distributor, super coil on it. It has angle plug heads on it. It doesn't have the right headers on it right now because we had an issue with it. That's another story, maybe for a future video, okay? I have new headers for it. I just got to be able to jack the car up high enough off the ground to get the old headers out. So if anybody got any suggestions on how I do that with, on a small budget, and a small budget right now because work hours have kind of slowed down at work, so now I have to watch what I'm spending. Anyway, yeah, it's not bored out like the other engine was, but this thing has got some power to it. It's got, I think he says, got 450 horsepower in it, somewhere between 430 to 450 horsepower. It'll get up and go. And being that my Malibu is kind of light, if you punch it hard enough, it will fishtail with you. It will burn the rubber off the tires. So it's, the car is a little beat up and everything, but it looks decent. It looks good. It's got a little bit of rust showing, a little rust hose popping up on it, but in the rear quarters and stuff, but it don't look half bad. Maybe in a future video I'll take a video of it, show off my car a little bit, things like that. That's the kind of things I'm thinking about doing in future videos. And maybe, just random stuff about my computer. A little quick glimpse of that. Stuff like that. Maybe I'll talk about the computer. Maybe I'll talk about the car. Maybe I'll talk about daily life. That's pretty much what the direction I'm trying to think about going forward on the video, on the channel. And I welcome comments and things like that, but I'm running out of space on my phone. I'm doing this video on my phone like I did before. I don't have a stand for it, so I'm holding it with my hand, so maybe one day I'll get a stand for it, and that way I'll have a hands-free video shooting without having to hold it with one hand. So yeah, this is just an update about what happened the last few years, what I've been doing, what's been going on. I've been very, very busy all last year, especially this year. This has been a very busy year, especially with my wife and what's going on with her and what's going on with my mother and what's going on with me, and the car, things like that, updates with the car and updates here and there. There's all kinds of stuff happening at once, and just things have been really busy and hectic. So I almost forgot, model car builders. I also like to build, I just started doing it's a model kit. I don't know if anybody's heard of this. It's I just started learning about it about a month ago, and it intrigued me. It's like it'd be a good hobby to get into. People that don't know, there's like this model car kit that you put together. It's like a die-cast model car of the Ecto 1. It's a 1/8 scale model. I just started doing this. It's from Eagle Moss, is the company that makes it. So if you want to Google that, it's you have to Google it for there's a US and then there's a UK version of it too. You want to do the US version if you're in the United States. It's not a bad deal. You know, it's like a subscription to a magazine, but they send pieces of it to you every month, like every 20 days, I think. They'll send you like 4 kits, pieces of the model, and you gradually build this model up over 2.5 years. So I just started on it a month ago, so I still got 2.5 years to go before I'm finished with the model, right? So I'm also getting into that. I'm also getting into a second model car that's very similar. It's like the Fast and Furious. Now, if you want to see videos of me doing that, I'll be happy to film that too. Just tell me what you think about that, and we'll see about going forward on that too. Just more content for the channel, you know, just, you know, something to add to the channel. It may not be related to mealworms and stuff, but, you know, I'm not into the mealworms anymore. I'm going forward with something else. So, you know, I finally had a free moment where I can make a video, and that's why I'm just giving this. It's going to be a lengthy video from when I'm looking at the timer on my phone. So, and I'm going to have to cut this off because I'm about to run out of memory. Okay, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So, you know, leave your comments, videos, likes, you know, subscribe if you haven't. I'll try to make a video soon. Oh, and I gotta get up early in the morning too. It's already 2:12 in the morning now. I gotta visit my wife at the nursing home tomorrow when I get up, or should I say this morning. You know, I gotta go visit her. For whatever reason, you have to set up a scheduled appointment to go visit your loved one if they're at Signature nursing home, but that's also where they do rehab. So it's also I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of this one. So it's why they did it this way, I don't know. You have to schedule a visit, and you're only allowed to visit for like 15 minutes. And I don't know how dumb that can be, but that's how they have their rules. So I don't get it, but it is what it is. But all right. So I'm gonna try to get this video posted as soon as I can, as soon as I'm done with it, and I'll have it posted maybe sometime in the next couple days. Today is well, it's now the 10th of August. Man, how fast time has flown by this year. Okay, so yeah, so all my loyal subscribers that have been sticking around to the, you know, waiting for a new video, here you go. Here's a new video. So the date is now the 10th. You know, maybe this video will be up either the 11th or 12th. You know, maybe in the next couple of days it'll be uploaded. So, all right. So I thought I needed to share all this information because it'll tell you that you know, what's been going on. And maybe I'll start doing a weekly video. Who knows? You know, it just depends on how much time I have. You know, I'm still busy. So anyway, I gotta cut it off now. Okay, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for my viewers, people that are new to the channel. You know, if you want to look at other videos that's mealworm related, it won't be on this video. So thumbs up if you want to like the video, subscribe, you know, things like that. People that still want to donate, you can still do that. I want to leave the link up. You know, if you still want to give a little, that's okay. I'm not handing my hand out for donations, but, you know, usually I give the donations to my mom. It helps her, so. But she did say thank you for that. So, and I'm thanking you too. Alright, that's all. You know, I gotta go before I run out of memory and cuts me off. Thanks, everybody. Bye.